Welcome to the Generation X-Wing podcast, a modern look at our retro lifestyle. My name is Rob Williams, and I'm here with
Jamie Pale Rider,
as well as
Steve 3.
Welcome, boyos.
Hello.
It is episode 498 of the Generation X-Wing podcast. We're 2 away from 500.
2 away. If only that was the case with our listeners.
I was kind of hoping that our YouTube channel would be like that as well.
Yeah, I mean
500, 5,000.
Yeah, let's get 500. Tell your family, tell your friends, subscribe.
Yes.
Don't have to listen.
You're probably
subscribe.
You might be seeing this on YouTube as we speak, so we'll smash that like button, as the kids say. Today I'm looking forward to this conversation. We are going to be talking about things we kind of missed when we were young. We're a bunch of old farts here, and we were trying to think of some ideas, and a lot of the time we get to talking about, you know, things that we kind of miss. We'll get into it, but as I let my brain roll, I was going to start with 5. I came up with 10, and I just had to try and stop myself. So I think we're going to really enjoy this discussion because it will just take us down memory lane, kind of help those who are younger than us. I know, Jamie, you're a millennial, but
you keep calling me a millennial. I'm going to start calling you a boomer, FYI.
Well, the kids have called me worse, but for those younger, we lived through the 70s and 80s, and our young
80s and 90s
and 90s. Our young adulthood was in the 90s. In fact, next week's episode is about the movie Singles, and Anil will be joining us, which is all about the 90s.
And how?
Yeah. So, but I wanted to know I want to ask you guys before we get into our list. Was this a hard list to put together? Jamie, what about you?
I had a bit of a tough time. I don't know. Mostly I just didn't want to be an old man ranting about how things were better back in my day, and tried to keep it lighter and not just crap on how things are today.
The kids these days don't understand.
Yeah.
In my day, we had a lightning on our belt,
that guy.
and that's how we liked it. I just mixed my Dana Carvey with my Abe Simpson. What about you, Steve? What was this? What was it like putting this list together?
I figured it would be kind of fun to pick 5 things, and then as I started reminiscing, you know, stirring up the old memory chip, seeing if I can rattle some memories out from the times being a kid, it ended up being a list of stuff that, and I really remember that, and I miss doing that, and it'd be so good to. And so it became memory lane for me. I didn't find it hard to create a list. But what I did find it hard to do is segregate 5 things that I really can say that I couldn't do again, right? Yeah. So a lot of this conversation is probably going to be me just recalling some of the awesome stuff growing up. But I was also in the UK, so it's going to probably be 100% different than you. Because I was starting to think about TV shows that I miss, you know, and that wasn't... I guess that's kind of within the realms of what we're doing, but I couldn't just sit there and reel off TV shows. But I probably have a couple of them that we could talk about. But yeah,
I avoided the TV shows and movies just because I can always go back to watching those movies and TV shows, although some of them are harder than others to find. Yeah. But I do get what you're saying. I found myself having to force myself to stop making a list. Yeah. And I'm very kind of retrospective in that way. And I tried to make it things that I can't do anymore, but things that meant something to me when I was younger, and quality things. And maybe the kids won't get it these days, but there's going to be a lot of things when my son grows up. He's 11 now, going on 12 in a week or so, and there's things that he's going to look fondly at, just like we did with this sort of stuff. And I'm not going to, when I get to older age, I don't want to poo-poo his memories, because playing Fortnite or playing Roblox in the back on his desk may be something that he looks fondly back that he won't be able to do anymore. That sort of thing that we right now laugh at. But anyways, I'm waxing poetic here. I want to start with Steve. I like this because you did talk about how you grew up in England. So us 2 Canadians up here have a different perspective. But give me one of the things you want to just... Anything on your list, you start.
Yeah, one of the things I can remember being super, super excited about as a kid and really enjoying when it happened was back then, it wasn't so easy to travel. So when people traveled, it was usually quite an experience, and there were certain places you couldn't get to. Things weren't at your fingertips, right? And that's one of the biggest things that I miss was not having everything at your fingertips, which is the kind of number one highlight I put on my list is that. But that's generic. So what would happen is family, friends, or relations would go on a trip. And I remember one of them in particular would go to America. And America was a long way away from me. So when they used to come back from America, we'd get so excited because we knew we'd be getting a gift. And that gift would not be something that you could find in the UK. It'd be something very big, very bold, very American, you know, even like something to help you make a burger, or it'd be some toy that you just couldn't get in the UK, or just something ridiculous that is probably everywhere now and inundated in every store. But the stuff you used to get from those visits, you could never get in the UK. So I remember getting so excited when, you know, Auntie would come round and she'd been to America and you didn't know what you were going to get as a gift, but it was going to be something which you could show off at school and be super proud of having because no one else is going to have one, right? It was exceptionally exciting to get that, and you treasured it. So that's what I miss.
What's a good American gift that you got?
I think
that you recall.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. Most of them at the time at that age were going to be toys of some sort, but I can't think of what they are off the top of my head. But a lot of the gadgety stuff was what was really cool. So you get these gadgets for the kitchen, which sounds ridiculous, but there'd be a kitchen gadget. Before the likes of Soda Streams and stuff came out, you get these gadgets or something brought back that was just something cool and awesome to have in the house. But yeah, I always remember that. It was either Australia or America, just places that you just couldn't get to very easily because it cost a ton of money and it wasn't easy to do.
Auntie brought back a slap chop, eh?
That kind of thing, man. That kind of thing. Or, you know, the ShamWow. You know? But you didn't even know what that was because you don't get international advertisements, right? So
I mean, that's a good point because, you know, nowadays we can buy anything from anywhere at any time.
Right.
It's so... You want an item from Japan, from Mongolia, usually there's a way to get it. You said that, like my dad would go on business trips to Japan all the time around my birthday in October, and I can tell that it bothered him, but he would come back with a Japanese Transformer or a baseball cap from it looked like the Cincinnati Reds, but it was the Carp. I can't remember the town, unfortunately. I'm better not try. But it was the cart. It looked like a Cincinnati Reds, but it was always a Japanese gift, and it was like the best because you didn't get it here in Canada.
But even like an American sports jersey, things you wouldn't get here. Like American football came in late, as far as I'm concerned. American football never existed. We used to watch it on Channel 4. And then, you know, you always wanted to get the ball. You always wanted to get something like a Wilson original leather American football. Then you'd be the coolest kid on the block. And if you got a jersey, an LA Raiders jersey, holy shit. Marcus Allen, you're in, right? You were there. You were the star of the show.
Jamie, do you ever have family members go to a different country, even if it is America? Because American cola and food sometimes was even a big deal for us in Canada.
No, that wasn't really a thing when I was growing up.
How about from the far reaches of Edmonton? They went to Edmonton. They got back some exotic food. No, I don't know.
That makes no sense. I mean, that was a big thing going to West Edmonton Mall, but that was only like a couple hours away by driving. Yeah,
you can't exactly say you missed that because that's the only thing to do there today now.
Yeah, pretty much. It still exists as is.
Still the only thing to do in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Exotic dinosaur bones from Drumheller. That's as close as you're getting.
Yeah, no, I did like Drumheller when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So give us one of your 5 then, Jamie.
Oh.
Count us down.
See, and I still feel like I'm.
Doesn't matter. We're here now.
Like
we're here now.
The first thing that sprung to mind was the movies. And I say the movies in a very general fashion because I feel like there was so many of my favorite movies that came from the 80s just wouldn't get made nowadays.
They don't.
Like if you're looking at movies like Ghostbusters especially, but things like Predator and RoboCop and things like that, those movies would not get made like that these days. There's no way. They would just be a popcorn action fest.
Yeah, and everything we get nowadays is based on those movies, right?
Yeah.
When you want to get that feeling of a good, awesome movie, you go back to the ones from the 80s.
Yeah. Well, like I was just talking about the RoboCop movie with Christine earlier, because like when I made her watch it, she was expecting an 80s cheesy action fest, not like a dystopian commentary on the overreaching power of corporations and how it impacts, you know, the average American. Like just this scathing commentary on like ultra capitalism. Like,
do you think though, when you watched it as a kid, you even that just went right over your head, right?
No.
So when you watch it as an adult now, going back to those 80s films, you're like, holy shit, they're really picking up on something there.
Yeah. And even watching Ghostbusters in the last, well, as an adult, you can tell there's a very like anti-conservative, kind of anti-government overreach undertone with represented by the EPA and Walter Peck, and you know, just it's so funny watching those movies now and just seeing those kinds of things that it won't even register to the average kid.
So you miss being entertained, basically.
Well, not even that. Like, I'm entertained by movies these days, but I feel like you're not going to get like an ultra violent RoboCop movie where they're totally just taking the piss out of super powerful corporations and things like that, and just the tongue-in-cheek jokes about their lack of regard for human life and all that kind of stuff. Like, you're not going to get that these days. You're just going to get the action.
Too much of a risk for the studio to take, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because not risk takers anymore.
Action popcorn fests are way more of a safer investment, I feel like, for studios.
What's going to make us money? Not what's going to be groundbreaking and just start a new franchise, but what's going to make us money? What can we copy?
Yeah. And I remember that reaction from Starship Troopers. I saw that movie in the theater, and I remember hearing people shit on the movie because they're like, oh, I was expecting, you know, aliens or something like that. And what I got was this weird kind of satirical tongue-in-cheek commentary on fascism.
Yeah, Rob.
I'm sorry, it wasn't even funny.
It wasn't supposed to be.
It wasn't supposed to be funny.
Are you sure? It sounds like they were trying to make it funny.
No, it was a tongue-in-cheek with comedy.
Isn't that tongue-in-cheek humor?
Insofar as it's dark humor that you laugh to keep from crying, I guess.
Yeah.
Would you say that like Predator was a comedy? Because that made you laugh in a couple of places.
Predator was not meant to be tongue-in-cheek, but it did have humor.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not talking
anyway,
about Starship
we're not talking about movies. Moving on. Rob, what's one of the things you miss from being back in the 80s?
I'm trying to think of movies that, what you're saying. But,
but we don't miss them, though, because we can watch them anytime we want. That's the thing. We don't miss them because we can watch them whenever we want. But the creation of them.
He's talking about a style of movie.
Yeah.
And, you can't. Now it's just more of a parody of that style of movie nowadays, I think. But related to that, I guess I'll choose this one. This was like number one on my list. I miss commentaries on movies, DVDs, Blu-rays. I mean, this is relatively new. I mean, this is nothing. This is within the last 20 years at least. I don't see a lot of commentaries. Unless I'm missing something on Netflix or Disney or anything. Like, you can select on a Blu-ray or DVD. There is the commentary option, and I loved listening to the actors and the director go through the movie and talk about what they did in this scene and what their ideas were. I mean, I remember hearing that for the first time by accident. My first DVD I ever saw was Chicken Run, of all things, the Aardman Entertainment Chicken Run, and I must have hit a button by accident, and I was listening to the movie with a commentary going through the whole thing. I'm like, did I do this wrong? Is this what the movie's about? And then eventually, when figuring out the DVD for the first time, it was like, they do commentaries on movies? And then I would buy movies based on the commentary, not just the movie. If it had a commentary of this actor or anything, I was in it. But nowadays I miss that. I miss listening to, Tim Burton or this actor just sit down and talk about what they were doing. And sometimes they just go on and on about nothing about the movie and what they did that day. And it's just, I kind of miss that. And I would like Netflix and all these streaming services to offer that as another language. And again, maybe I'm missing it. I haven't seen it. I'm not aware of it. But, you can get French, get Italian, get Spanish, get commentary. And I would like to go back to that. I kind of miss that. So, although that also connects with I miss it, but I don't. Remember the DVD windows when you start the movie, and it does a little play. It's like play, languages, whatever, and they do that, the opening of a book or something, or just to get the buyer into the movie. Okay, you're gonna be watching Ghostbusters, and they got little scenes here and there just before you hit play. I kind of miss that too, but then
I recently had that. I watched Shaun of the Dead. I wanted to watch Shaun of the Dead again. So I put in the DVD. I don't have it on Blu-ray or anything. It's just on DVD. So I put in the DVD, and it opens up with a little sketch, a little cartoon sketch, and then you get the pictures hanging on the wall. You got the guys tapping at the window, and you get to go back through and see all the deleted scenes and the commentaries and all the rest of it, and you get to select each one.
I mean, I put in an old DVD like when we were doing Spice World, and you have the coming attractions that play before you can even get to the main menu. And again, I liked it. It was memorable, but I was kind of glad we don't have that part. It was just like, just get to the movie. And then the piracy ad or something like that. I know in England, it's like, you wouldn't,
the FBI is going to come and get you.
Yeah, you wouldn't kill a grandma. You wouldn't steal movies or whatever.
You wouldn't download a car.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
So it kind of similar to that though, but slightly different. Do you miss when you used to go to the movies? I can't say the cinema because then you guys poke fun at me. When you used to go to the movies, they used to play the trailer movie, and then they used to play what's coming out, and then they would go to intermission. Do you miss intermission? Do you miss the ladies at the bottom of the stairs selling ice creams and pops and stuff like that?
I never had that.
Oh,
I've never
really?
been to a movie where they had, or a cinema, where they've had the ladies with the popcorn.
Oh never. Yeah, I remember that, man. That was funny. You used to get intermission, and then they used to stop what they were playing, and it would come across an intermission. You get up from your seat and you go and buy stuff, or you run down to the bottom and buy your Magnum.
The only time I've seen an intermission was on a Monty Python movie.
Well, there you go. There you go. Because that's what you used to see, and you used to have an intermission, right? Yeah. But that's what we used to have. So again, you don't miss it, but I kind of miss that because that was fun.
The closest thing we got, I think, was the video, all the cartoon drinks and popcorn saying, "Let's all go to the lobby." Yeah.
But when do you get a chance to go to the lobby if they've already started the movie?
Yeah. Well, that would play before the movie.
What I wish now, and we're going slightly off topic, but and Neil's joining us next week, so we've got to get ready. But what I wish they do now when you go to the movies is before they play the movie, someone sarcastically talented comes on and say, "Oh, okay, you still haven't opened up your popcorn and your Doritos and your freaking whatever it is in the bag of rocks. Maybe you should do that now before the movie starts. Maybe we should get the bags open and get ready to go in. How about you finish that before the movie starts?" I would love that.
Like the 80s version of turn your cell phones off.
Yeah, eat your freaking snacks, dudes, because I want to watch
Nobody
this
wants
movie.
to be a Tommy Texter.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, nowadays the movies, this is where I'm going to be old man yelling at clouds, but goddamn, 5+ minutes of freaking car commercials and bank commercials, and then it just goes on and on and on. Oh, I can't stand it. And then you got the trailers. I'm good with. I enjoy trailers because it's actually some sort of plot to it.
Movie trailers are fun.
Movie trailers are great.
You want to see what's coming out, right?
I don't give a shit about your goddamn car. I can't afford it anyways. It ain't going to be coming within the next year anyway.
I don't remember seeing any
constant car commercials. And so this is the best thing about, one of the best things about movies is you can get your seat. You can, reserve your seat, not have to worry for 5 to 10. You were 5-10 minutes late to the movie. It's okay. They haven't started yet. They're still talking about trying to get your new iPod into your ear or something like that. It's just, goddamn. I'm never worried about being late to a movie anymore because I know.
Do you miss having to get in there first so you can get in the middle and up near the top?
No, I do not miss that because I was always the guy that had to put friggin' 5 coats down for the friggin' group, and I hated that person. I hated myself.
Wouldn't it just be easier to let out a little one cheek sneak and then no one would go up into that area anyway?
I got dignity, sir. Come on. One cheek.
This is why you fail.
Yeah, exactly. I question your commitment, Rob.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not that good.
All
I'm
right.
not that quality cinema goer.
Keeping away from movies.
Yes.
One thing I miss is the treats in the cereal boxes. I used to love that, man. I used to love looking through the grocery rack and looking at, even if it wasn't the cereal I liked, if there was a good toy in there, I wanted that. And if there's 7 to collect, that's what I'd be eating until all 7 were collected.
Oh my God,
and
so
you
many
get
good
home,
memories.
and I remember originally you could open up the cardboard box and you could pull out the insert which had all the cereal in it in like a bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was you just to pull it out, you used to find it. And then when your mum wasn't looking, you could get your hand in the cereal that everyone was going to be eating, and you go and pluck out the toy, rather than just being able to wait for it to pour out into your bowl, right? And that's what I used to love, is those things. And I remember at some point they started sticking the bag to the bottom of the box. So if you opened it up like a sensible kind of ADD kind of guy, you'd open up the top, right? Because your pictures would all be up the right way and you could read the box you're eating. So then, if you were clever, you had to open up the bottom of the box because that would detach the bag. And then you could pull the bag out, right? But do you remember that? You used to get these really solid collectibles in cereals.
Are you kidding me? I'm going to send you one in the chat right now. I just found it. My favorite one of all time. I can't remember
and
what
then
cereal it was.
you used to be able to cut things out from the back too. You used to be able to make little adventure things on the back. It was so cool. So cool. So that's
okay. I sent you in the chat my favorite. It was the black hole pencil holder. I think it was Shreddy's, but it had Vincent, had this Troopers, had Maximilian. It was just a plastic thing. They would have their hands straight out.
Do you still have it?
No, I wish. You know what? Next time I toy show, I should look for those, because that's something I would actually spend a couple of bucks on. But those were the best. There's Tron discs were in there. I remember Tron discs and Shreddies.
Well, one of the things you talk about black hole. One of the things that I really this is on my list, but I didn't highlight it as one of the 5 because it can be in this conversation. Was Shrinky Dinks. And I think I've mentioned this before on the show.
Shrinky Dinks, I remember that.
And you used to get this almost like collecting like a Topps card size plastic, slightly more, and have a character on it, and you could color that shit in, and then you put it in the oven, and it would shrink down to a keyring size, and you'd have your keyring, which you colored in. Oh, loved it, loved that, loved the Shrinky Dinks.
Shrinky Dinks were a thing for a few months at our house. I totally remember that. And
now you're probably not allowed to say it because it will upset someone.
Oh, don't get on that. No. Stop that.
Shrinky Dink.
That's old man yelling at Cloud.
Shrinky Dink.
I also put in I also put in the Tron discs as well. They were just tiny mini frisbees the size of my fist.
Oh, I see what you mean by discs. I thought I see what you mean. You could flick them.
No, it was like a mini frisbee.
Yeah. There was one. Do you remember like the pop gun? I've gone off the tracks again, but the pop can rings. You used to tear off the pop can ring, and you could take the lip, put it in the ring, and then fling it at people.
I never did that.
Dude, that was so good. The one where you actually pull it off, you could actually pull the whole ring and the tab off. You used to snap the tab off the ring.
Yeah.
And then you could put the one end of the tab in the ring, and you could pull back on the ring and fling it at people.
Do you remember pop cans where you had to press the small button at the top?
I remember that coming out
further down.
I remember that coming out. Yeah.
God. And it was like, as a kid, you're like trying to get that little tiny button in there.
I get a little bit of anxiety when I think about those old ring pulls, though, because they were so sharp.
Oh,
we didn't care. We didn't care, man. It was like, you know, you just open that thing up and throw it on the floor.
How'd you lose your finger? 1978.
And then we'd put our lips to it.
Oh, cut your lips right open there.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, gone off on a tangent.
Oh no, it's great.
Cereal boxes.
Oh, little submarines with baking soda.
Oh, yes,
that was the best.
Or the plastic army man with the parachute.
Yeah.
So good. They never worked, but the first thing I would do is run upstairs, open up the bedroom window, and chuck that son of a bitch out, and hoping it was going to float down.
Yeah.
So good.
I want to go on this. I wanted to go on this deep rabbit hole dive on toys and
let's make it another episode.
Episode 500. We're talking about
episode 500. Talking about cereal prizes, and we have to go out and find them so we can present them to everyone.
You have a better chance in the States than you do up in Canada. I feel the States always have a great selection just because of the sheer population.
I'm bringing back Shrinky Dinks. Fuck it. That's it. I'm doing it. I'm bringing it back.
Hey, I don't want to look at your Shrinky Dinks, sir. It's cold up here. All right, Jamie, your turn.
So I'm gonna go higher level again, more of a concept. Just the concept and the event of Saturday morning cartoons.
That was on my list. Yeah.
Just not any cartoons in particular, just the fact that was a thing. It was a thing you look forward to on Friday night. You grab your bowl of cereal after jumping it out to get the toy out of there. And then you park your ass in front of the TV for like 4 hours or whatever.
Question, Jamie.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt, but beanbag or floor?
Floor. Yeah, just floor. We weren't rich enough for beanbags.
Couch.
Yeah, we would just be on the floor a couple feet away from the TV and just whatever. So it was like typically things like Looney Tunes, like the Ghostbusters cartoon, Transformers.
Did it
G.I.
ramp up in
Joe.
age for you? Did it ramp up in age as the morning went on? So the early morning were for younger kids, the ones that have been up since 2, and then it would get kind of older in its range of what it was meant for.
That's a good point. I actually don't know.
I don't think it did.
The only thing I remember that's remotely related to it is that the Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and that kind of thing were always on first. So maybe.
Yeah. I kind of remember it being that the cooler teens cartoons would come on later.
Yeah.
Well, here's an example. Like CBS back in I can't remember when this was. Bugs Bunny was at 8:30, Scooby Doo at 9:30, Shazam and Isis Hour at 10:30. So I guess that was a bit older as you went. And then like you can find a lot of these Saturday morning cartoon hour lists in the comic books and stuff. 1971. Oh, that's not. I wasn't born then. But here's 1980. So we had. Oh God, Happy Days had a cartoon, and then Dracula, Lone Ranger. I mean, those are early in the years, and then eventually Disney started taking over. And he had like Gummy Bears, Fraggle Rock,
Yep.
Alvin and Chipmunks,
Droids and Ewoks.
Droids and Ewoks.
The Centurions.
Yep.
I don't remember Centurions.
Really?
Okay,
Power Extreme, and then all the armor bits would come and attach to them. And
here's one from 1981, NBC. It says at 7:30 is Flintstones, 8:30 Smurfs, 9:30 the Kid Superpower Hour with Shazam, which was a favorite of mine. Space Stars at 10:30, Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Show at 11:30, Daffy at 12, and then Bullwinkle at 12:30. So that's 8:30 to 12:30 right there.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
That's a lot. Holy cow.
Yeah, I remember it distinctly now that we're talking about it, and that's why I mentioned the beanbag, because I remember distinctly Saturday mornings, because I had a paper round because I wanted to have pocket money. So during the week, paper round school, but Saturday morning, paper round, right? But then when you got back, drag out the beanbag, and it wasn't a leather one or anything like that, Jamie. It was just a typical zip up with the foam balls, and I would just plunk myself up in that or down in that beanbag, and then that was it. It was just cartoons. X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh. But you think the thing is, for me, is like, again, we're kind of spoiled human beings, right? We can watch that shit now if we wanted to, but the question is, do they still have a Saturday morning thing? Because it's all cable, it's all Netflix, it's all streaming.
It's YouTube. I can tell you right now, my son, and I'm a teacher, a middle school teacher, and I have taught elementary school as well. It's not really happening so much. I mean, when I started teaching 23 years ago, it was after school stuff, and that was still a big deal even when we were kids. After school, that's when I saw Transformers and G.I. Joe and all that sort of stuff. But it was just dying out. I remember Disney's One Saturday Morning was just coming to an end. The late 90s, early 2000s. We had Recess and Weekenders and all that sort of stuff. And then it just kind of, when the internet started really picking up and YouTube picked up, that's enough. I think they can't get the funding anymore for something like that.
What about after school then? What was your after school go to?
Jimmy?
After school. Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, mine was totally G.I. Joe, Transformers.
Was it?
Yeah. Totally.
Mine was John Craven's News Round, and after John Craven's News Round, it would be Grange Hill.
What?
Grange Hill. It was a kids' TV show about a school. So all the stuff you need to handle for the kids' political correctness will be done in Grange Hill.
What? How you spell it?
Grange, G-R.
Oh, Grange. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Hill.
Grange Hill.
Hill.
Sorry, it's the Australian accent. In particular,
Had one of the best.
Oh,
one of the,
yeah, okay.
One of
I
the
see
best
what
theme tunes ever. You can play it. Insert it now. Done. One of the best theme tunes ever. Gripper Stepson, I remember being the bully. You didn't want Gripper getting on you. Gripper got on you, it would be terrible.
Look at that hair. Everybody's wearing ties and suits.
That's how you were in England, man.
That's how
Proper.
it was. Yeah, yeah. So
Suits, it's a blazer, Rob.
It's not this. It's the cinema. So now I'm making fun of you, even though we.
All right. Well, now we're on to you. So number 2 for Rob.
Sorry, Jane. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that, though? With the
No, just the event, like the event of Saturday morning cartoons.
What cereal were you typically choosing? Just curious.
For me, it was always, we never got anything too bananas or sugary. So it was typically like, I think Honey Nut Cheerios or maybe Frosted Flakes, but otherwise it was like Shreddies and Corn Flakes.
Rob, what was yours?
Well, I had a whole bunch of different ones. There was always like some sort of Cheerios in there. I was noticing this, it relates to what you're saying. There was mini wheats, but when I was a kid, the frosted mini wheats were not bite sized. They were large. They were quite large as my finger right
like
now.
Weetabix.
Not Weetabix. Weetabix was like a larger of a hockey puck size thing.
Weetabix with milk and sugar.
I enjoyed Weetabix. I did. I enjoyed the porridge and with a little bit of brown sugar, all that sort of stuff. But mini wheats was a large stick of mini wheat. But nowadays they're smaller, bite-sized mini wheats, and now they've made mini wheats. So like bite-sized mini wheats. And I just remember as a kid they've gone so large to just tiny little.
You know why?
Mini now.
Because it's too much trouble for kids to chew nowadays. They have to make it easier for the kids to eat the cereal.
In my day, we chewed our food.
I don't want to chew it. Chew it for me. Mine was whatever. My cereal choice was whatever the best toys were in that collection for that month.
Shreddies, I guess, was in there too a lot.
Shreddies would be in there. Frosty Flakes, Cocoa Pops.
I was like you, Jamie. I didn't have a lot of sugary cereal. It was rare.
That explains a lot.
But there was those little there was those 8-pack cereals as well, though. When you go traveling,
the mini boxes,
and you're always grabbing the corn pops or the Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, but you never got any toys in those, Rob.
Fruit Loops.
No, this was for camping and stuff, and you have to put it sideways, cut a capital I in it, flip it open, camping. And then have to cut it through the wrapper too, and then pour the milk. And you find there's a hole in there anyways, so because when you cut it, you poked a hole below, and it just made a mess. But they still have those nowadays. Well, okay, so I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to say here. How about the Sears catalog at Christmas time? Yeah. The way you just threw your hands back, Steve. Yep. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'm actually surprised. I didn't know you had Sears catalog.
I didn't have a Sears catalog.
What?
You know what I had? I had the Argos catalog.
Argos?
Argos.
What's Argos?
Argos was a store that you would order things from the catalog. So you go into the storefront, and then they would be tables with the catalogs all over the tables and a pen and an order form, and you'd flick through the catalog and you'd say I want A23, and that would be a toaster, or you get Z83 and that would be a toy. So you go in there, you flick through the catalog, you see what you want to do, and then what you would do is every season they come out with a new catalog, and you take it home and you leave the Argos catalog in the house and choose what you wanted. So you can zip down, you'd have your list of your numbers that you want to get, and then you go in there and order your stuff, and then some dude working the counter would type in what they needed or go and get it out the back of the warehouse and bring it out, and there you were. That was Argos.
I'm looking at some pictures of some right now, and it's like the He-Man, the Master of the Universe page, and the Star Wars.
Dude, the toys page were the best.
It was the absolute best. There's a whole bunch of things that I wanted to talk about. It was a great way to kind of, this is what I want for Christmas. Just imagine you opening these things and getting to choose as if you can have any choice of anything you want, even though that's not how it worked. But it was just nice to imagine that sort of stuff. And I always dug, when I got older, and I caught this as a kid, the people who are putting these pictures together have no idea about any of these toys because they put this bad guy riding alongside this good guy in the same vehicle, or they're holding their weapon at the base instead of like up the shaft, excuse my language. And it's just like, I could tell that you don't know Star Wars. A photographer doesn't know Star Wars.
There wouldn't be a snow trooper in the Millennium Falcon. You're not a fan.
You're not a fan. But Aquaman doesn't even have gills. But it's just, there was good memories. All the toys, the kind of the wishful thinking.
Well, you know what, Rob? It's you didn't know what was coming out until you got the catalogs, right? You didn't know what was going to be available for Christmas. So as soon as it come to Christmas season and the Christmas catalog came out, it was like, what have we got? Because you didn't have the internet, you didn't have a way of getting on and choosing stuff. You had to wait for that paper catalog to come out and choose your stuff.
I never found any of the things in there a surprise, at least not that I remember. I don't remember being surprised like, oh my God, they made an AT-AT. But I remember saying, oh my God, I want that AT-AT. It was like that one toy that I was able to get. I'm starting to sound really privileged, and I don't mean to.
Well, it was kind of like there was like giving you a wish list. You'd see the stuff in the stores, but you couldn't afford it. You couldn't go in there and get it whenever you wanted to. So when that catalog came out, it was like, okay, here's my chance.
Yeah.
If I say I want that, there's a possibility I could get it, right? That's what it used to be. Nowadays it's different, but yeah. Even being a kiddo that can go out, I'm still in that situation. Like, I really want it, but I can't afford it.
I don't even know why they made anything else plus the toy section, because I never looked at the clothing, never looked at the plates or anything. It was just
I used to look at shoes, Sony Walkmans, and the boom boxes, things like that, right? Or the electronics and the toys were definitely the one to get. And if you had a girlfriend, you'd look at the jewelry section, see if you could afford a ring or a necklace.
I don't think I had a lot of girlfriends back in elementary school, but
didn't eat the right cereal.
Wasn't in the box. What, Jamie, did you check out Sears Catalogues?
Oh yeah. The Sears catalog was...
underwear section.
No, it was the toys and the video games. It was. They were well worn sections, and my parents always knew, like, that was, my mom would joke about it every year. She'd be like, well, I better
why
look
are these
through the
pages
catalog
stuck
now,
together?
I know it's going to disappear. Yeah. I would wear out the toy section looking through it. It was great.
Yeah.
Most Sizzlack down there is having a good time. All right, so that was my thing. Sears Catalogues, I dug it. Fond memories of Christmas times.
I think a little segue into that is I've seen on some of the social media platforms that places like Amazon and stuff now will pop those catalogs into your mailbox nowadays. There's actually books coming out that feature what they have in their store. So some of the stores are starting to go back to that and create more of that kind of fun atmosphere of choosing stuff.
I'll jump on that a little bit, because in the mail, you get a lot of junk mail, but just recently I did get a Toys R Us flyer, but it was a mini booklet. It was about 8 to 10 pages or so. And Scott was legit excited about it. He's here. He almost grabbed it out of my hand so he can look through it. It took him like 2 minutes, like, meh, and there's nothing there for him. But it was still exciting for him for a brief moment. And there was like a Chapters bookstore, had some toys in there. He was actually excited to see that, and he kind of flipped through that. So, I mean, there is still something to say about a catalog.
Yeah.
A little tangible in your hand.
Target's doing it here. Target and Amazon are doing it here. They created the little Christmas book, so it's got the Christmas trees on it, it's got the wrapping paper on it, creating that atmosphere, that fun kind of atmosphere. So that's what I saw out here.
Yeah. All right, Steve, sorry, number 3 on your list.
Number 3, what can we go for now? We've just done the catalog. It's kind of in the same realms as what we were talking about earlier, but I miss the excitement of travel and going somewhere new. And the reason I say that is because I don't feel that kids will ever get that again. There's going to be the excitement of going on a trip, but I think you've got so much at your fingertips nowadays and so many ways of seeing a place before you even go to a place that I can never imagine it being as exciting as it was for what I experienced. Now, obviously, in the UK, we were very close to Europe, but we would get to go to trips either with the school or something like that, and we had no idea what we were getting into. We had no idea what it was. You've only seen it in the movies and stuff, right? So you couldn't Google map it, you couldn't do this, you couldn't go on a TripAdvisor and see what's around and see what you could do. It was all brand new and super exciting. And then meeting the people that were there was super exciting because nobody was in each other's pockets like they are now. So I kind of miss that excitement of going on a trip where it's totally unexpected as to what I'm going to get. And nowadays I don't feel you get that because you can find out everything about it before you go.
Yeah, I would actually argue against that just a little bit, just because Scott never went to Disneyland or beforehand.
Yeah,
I mean, he's seen pictures of it, but when you get there, it's nothing like what you imagine. What you kind of have these ideas of, oh, maybe this is there and that's there, but when you get there, it's just reality sets in, and it's amazing. And I don't think a lot of kids actually do a lot of advanced road mapping of where they're going. Heck, my son just had troubles just trying to get his friends out for trick-or-treating until the last to the 11th hour. They're not planning that far ahead. But I mean, there are the odd one or two, but I just don't sense the kids really realize things until they get there. So that wonders might still be there.
Maybe. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, to me, as soon as that kid gets that phone in his hand,
I mean, that's very true.
His, her, or their hand, right? Everything's available to you. You don't have to wonder or.
They are more, like you're saying, they are more connected to the world around them. Like they're watching Mr. Beast go to this place in Texas, or watching that person go to that place in Louisiana, and so they may be aware of these big giant malls or theme parks and stuff, as you're saying. But there's still no, like you're saying, there's still no experience until you just get there.
Yeah, I just remember it being a lot different. You just didn't know. I remember going on my first ski trip with the school. It wasn't even with my family, it was with the school. So only I went with all my school friends, and we went over to Italy for a ski trip, and it was just like the craziest adventure. It was so much fun. I had no idea what was coming up.
I was going to ask the dumbest ass question, but I'm going to ask anyways. Is there skiing in England?
No.
Not really?
The reason I say no is because the only place you can really go is Scotland, and that's not England.
Yeah, okay.
Same island, not England. So Scotland would be the only mountain range that you're able to ski on, I would say. Now you can go skiing, but it's all dry slopes. We used to do it all on dry slopes.
Is it similar, like you obviously living in Vancouver for a while, like we had grouse and hemlock and Seymour and stuff. Is there anything like that in Scotland? No,
it's miserable and cold, windy. Sorry to all the Scottish people out there.
But
it's not, I feel like.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as high, right? So they don't, I think, is it Ben Nevis is the tallest mountain in England, I think?
I don't know.
Yeah. But I just feel not having stuff at your fingertips, not able to do everything. It's just in the movie, so it's more fantastical when you get there. I just don't feel that would be the case. And again, sort of sounds like a grumpy old man, but it's true. Now everything is at your fingertips. If you want to, you can find out about it. You can get it. You can see it, experience it.
I find it interesting that for two of your three last picks have been about travel and going to new places. It's interesting. That's because I find you also a very traveled person. Obviously,
well,
being
the first
England,
one was about stuff that was
work.
First one was about stuff being brought back to me because travel wasn't.
But it's worldly.
Yeah. And I travel a lot.
Yeah, you travel a whole bunch.
And that's probably why I miss the excitement of going somewhere, because now it's just like, another airport, another hotel.
Well, it's the reasons why, too, sometimes, I'm assuming. It's more for work rather than pleasure.
Yeah. Not really. I mean, I don't stop. I mean, it's just constant travel. Even, 4 hours up the road somewhere driving, it's still like same thing when you get there for me. But yeah, I think the last time I experienced an absolute surprise was when I went to New Zealand.
Yeah,
that was just totally amazing for me. I really enjoyed every minute of that.
Yeah,
that was kind of the opposite. We shut off and stayed in a camper van and experienced it for what it should be. It was kind of cool.
Just a little quick sidebar. My son's birthday is coming up, as I mentioned, and I am going to surprise him. It's not a new place. I'm going to surprise him with a trip to Victoria. I'm just picking him up after school. Okay, get in, loser. We're going to Victoria, and just surprise him with a trip. because something unexpected. I don't want him to focus on the monetary, the commercial. I want him to focus on the experience. And again, Victoria is a place we've been to 100 times, but still, it's the experience that I want him to enjoy. And just so I kind of like that idea. I'm not a big traveler myself, but I do get the idea of visiting and traveling and the moments that you build that way. Jamie, anything to add to that before we go into your number 3?
No. Yeah, I'm good to move on.
Traveling to West Edmonton Mall wasn't like the.
I mean, it was pretty cool as a kid, mostly because there's all kinds of cool shit to do there, right? Like there's a water park, there's the amusement park, there's.
But did you ever wonder what it was like to travel to Europe? What it'd be like to be in France? What it'd be like to be in Spain? Places like that, or did you just like, I don't really care. If you found out you were going to go somewhere, you'd be like, oh wow, what's it going to be like? How do they really sound? What do they eat?
All the traveling we ever did is when I was a kid was every summer we'd come out to BC to do like camping and visiting family for a couple weeks. That was
the exotic location of Oliver.
Yeah. So I mean, it was still fun. Like I enjoyed the camping aspect, and it was fun to see extended family members and things like that. But
and not something I miss at all, but do you guys remember that if you did travel on a plane, you would be sat next to the back row of smokers where they were allowed to still smoke on the back of the plane?
That's one thing I do not
with the
miss,
little ashtray holders
section.
In the arms. Oh my god.
Well, not traveling a lot in plane. I haven't traveled a lot, but I don't. Yeah, you mentioned the smoking. Oh, God, that's funny. Smoking, non-smoking sections. God.
Gross.
It is gross.
How does that exist in a chamber, a vacuum chamber? No, that's the smoking section
air
back there.
stops right here.
Yeah.
Hold your breath, everybody. Okay, Jamie, sorry.
I miss, and these still exist these days. I feel like they're just tougher to find. So I miss the prevalence of arcades. Like there was arcades everywhere. That was such a huge thing. Even just going into a 7-Eleven and there being a couple arcade cabinets, or a grocery store and there being arcade cabinet. But like, to me, it was always a pretty big deal if I got to go to an arcade, like a dedicated standalone building full of arcade cabinets. That was awesome.
Did you have anything at home like Atari or anything like that?
I did. I had an Atari 2600. I had an NES. I had a Super Nintendo. But like back then, all the arcade games were generations ahead of anything.
That's what I was about to say, because nowadays the arcade games are way, inferior to what you can get on your PS5, right? Or something like that.
Well, it's mostly like classic games that you see in any arcade games or arcades that you might find now. But yeah, back then the arcade games were the pinnacle of video game advancement.
I went to a place on Halloween night, actually, up in Santa Clarita, before I went to Chris's place. And it's called Victory Pizza. It's just opened. And they have a row of pinball machines, a row of arcade games, and another row of arcade games, all at the back of this pizza bar. So there's a bar. Behind the bar is all the arcade games. And it's 25 cents to play the arcade games. Awesome. So it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool.
I'm looking at pictures.
I miss that especially too. And like, even in the small town where I grew up, we had a combination pizzeria and arcade. And that was the best. It was so good.
Yeah.
I still I only went to Chuck E. Cheese once when I was a kid, but I remember it pretty vividly.
But you go out to be social, but you don't have to actually talk to anyone because you're just playing the game. And every now and then your buddy will come and say, shit, just died over there. How long have you got? Oh, I'm still going, man. I got 3 lives. I'm going to be here for about another half hour. Go and get a Coke, Yeah. People's 25Ps are lining up on top of the arcade because they're on next. You're like, nope, I'm here all night. All night.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. I miss arcades like that. And maybe it's just the games being way more advanced than what you could play at home. So it was just that extra little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
Remember the episode we did a while back, just a couple episodes regarding commercials, video game commercials, and that tabletop tabletop Coleco games, where it's just the guy's going into the arcade and waving his hands and turning it into a mini arcade, just like the real game. And it's not but it's at the time we're loving it, but
yeah,
it was never the same.
I had Pac-Man on my Atari 2600.
Ooh.
It was not the same.
It was definitely not. It was the worst of all of the consoles.
I just remember the ZX Spectrum coming out, and the ZX Spectrum was the thing to have. You know, I think the game, there was Jet Set Willy, I think, was the game for the Spectrum. And then it was just the platform game, right? And then the Commodore 64 came out, and then that's my fondest memory of anything back in the day, is the Commodore 64 and all the games you could get for that with the tape deck, loading it up. Man, miss that stuff. But you can still get it now. That's why I didn't want to put it down now. I miss it like crazy. Loading up the game, listening to the music, the startup music, and it would start pausing and stuttering, and you'd be like, oh shit, I gotta do it again. So you rewind the tape, restart the computer, put it back in again. I miss all of that jazz, man. That was so much fun.
Arcades, I mean, what do you think of it? You and me, Jamie, have been to Quasar in Victoria, for example. We've actually been to also Capital City together as well. What did you think of those arcades? Has that got the same feel? I felt similar feels to it.
Yeah. I really like Capital City, mostly because of their model. I really love that all the arcade machines are on free play and you just pay per hour.
Yeah.
Quasar is still just like the token model. So you're still subject to the games being a little bit mean in how quickly they kill you. So you're ripping through way more money, I feel like, where there's no pressure at a place like Capital City where you're paying by the hour. You just go as much as you want. But both of those places to me are a ton of fun because they feel like an old school arcade.
Yeah, I totally agree. I miss arcades as well. In fact, that's one of the things I'm going to take Scott to when we get to Victoria. We're going to do it to Quasar on a Friday morning. And just
how many have we done? Have we only done 4 so far?
I'm on number 3 myself.
Wow. So, how are we doing for time?
I don't know.
We're coming up to the point where we need to start wrapping things.
Okay, well then I will jump off.
How do we get some quick fires?
Oh, well, let me just do my number 3 then.
Okay. Okay. If we have to, Rob.
All right, I will jump off that one because one of the things
stay.
I will. So buying comic books for the first time. You won't, as a kid, you find that new thing, that new hotness that you're into, and it just kind of sparks something. And comic books for me back in '86, when I got to Vancouver, just started high school, it just started to click with me. Legends #1 caught my eye, and then I got fully into comic books. And I still remember going to the drugstore to buy comics for 95 cents or $1. And sorry, Mom and Dad, I stole some quarters out of your little change jar, but but not a lot, just like a couple bucks, so I can get that newest New Universe issue or something like that. I mean, I collected all the New Universe, which was absolutely waste of time, but it was just fun going to the drugstore, going to that corner store, and there might be the odd arcade in that drugstore as well. And then Talking Illustrations was a comic book store I'd always visit in the New West. In fact, it was so close to me that we named our very first episode of this podcast Talking Illustrations, and just in honor of that. But it was just like, it was going to those stores as a kid and learning about comics for the first time and just absorbing it all and just reading everything and just seeing all the art, which is very different from nowadays. It's comic book art with the dots and stuff rather than realistic, and I just dug it. And I just remember diving into that world, and that's what I kind of missed, just fully eyes wide open, diving into something I've never done before.
But if I can combat you on that one,
yeah, sure,
you kind of still get that now, even now with the age that we are. I mean, something comes along and grabs your interest and really hooks you in, and you get that tingly feeling of having to get more of it and do more of it. I still get that now. I mean, yeah, anything in the collecting passion or anything in the hobbyist passion like that, I think excites and ignites that fun. So I think that's still available for anyone to get into. The first time is never the same, but even going on to those micro galaxy squadrons, right? It's the same ships, it's the same thing, it's still Star Wars, but man, I get super excited. And even now I get super excited when they release a new one and I gotta go out and get it.
Oh, I
So,
get that. Yeah, it's the intensity of just diving in and want to collect them all sort of idea. I feel a little, as an adult, I'm a little more jaded, but I still like coin collecting. You guys would make fun of me with the coin collecting regarding 501st coins, and I was totally into that. And it became like everything became so focused on that little hobby. But there's still a little bit of adult to me that's just like, I'm not having to steal money from my parents for one, but I get that though. I know what you're saying, Steve. But there we go. Hello, Neil. Welcome to the show. We're just going to go through our rapid fire. We got maybe 2 more, but real quick. Is that okay? Or do you want to just go through your list, Steve? What do you suggest?
hey, let's just pop them off. We still got what, 5 minutes? Let's just get it done, and then we can move on.
So okay, so Neil, just as you walked in here, we were talking about things we miss as in our youth. So I'll let Steve go first, and then Jamie, then I'll hop to you, Neil. So Steve, go through a couple of things there.
Okay, so here's the things I wrote down, which I didn't want to highlight because I miss going out into the woods, meeting up with everybody, playing War in the Woods without the fear of anything in the background, and just being lost for hours in the woods in the middle of nowhere. And I don't think that's ever coming back for anyone because of the world we live in nowadays. So I miss the shit out of that big time. That whole get out, not worry, just lose yourself in a world of craziness with a couple of sticks and some pine cones and go and play War in the Woods. I miss that.
Got it. It's on my list.
It is?
Cool. Maybe finding the odd Playboy.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, that happened, and that kind of correlates to going out and building like meetup dens. Like you'd find an abandoned bomb shelter or an abandoned clubhouse or an abandoned something somewhere, and you would just take it over as your gang's little meetup place, right? Not to do crime, not to go out and get, but just to meet up and have fun. And that, I remember once we went to an old cricket pavilion down in one of the playing fields, and if you crawl under the cricket pavilion of all things, right? Like who does that anymore? Like we crawled under the cricket pavilion, and that's where we'd hide out and just sit around and drink a couple of cans. And there we found a bag, like a Tesco's plastic carrier bag full of old 70s porno mags. Great, we can divvy them out and take them home, and now we got the old spank bank for a week. You know, it's great. Going out and doing those things is just not... It's just not possible nowadays, I don't think. So I miss the hell out of that.
We had a tunnel. Sorry, we had a tunnel that we in a creek. A creek with running water. And we went, there's no lights, and we went as far as we could up this thing until someone started yelling monsters, monsters. We had to run out. We got up to about knee deep in water. A bunch of 9-year-olds, completely unsupervised.
Yeah. We used to do the same thing. There was always these big fields down by the rivers where, you know, be playing fields during the summer, and in the winter it would just be overgrown. And so the city council would come in and they'd mow the whole thing, and they'd bundle up loads of like hay almost of all the cuttings of everything else. And you take that and you put it around a group of trees, and then all of a sudden you had a place to hang out with for a couple of nights until that stuff got taken away. It's great. So I definitely miss that. I miss Kinder eggs and popping the ends off the eggs. You can't do that anymore either. They were a great weapon. Nice. We talked about the ring pulls and the weapon.
Yeah.
The Kinder egg pop was so frustrating for people to get blasted in the face with a Kinder pop. I mean, those things are like
illegal.
With a
lid now. They come with
illegal here in North America, right? So, geez, you know, don't worry about everything else in the world, but get rid of those Kinder eggs. You never know. I think the reason they're illegal is because if you put one in your mouth, you can actually pop it off down your throat and then you're done. So I think that's why. That kind of makes sense. But I miss that. I miss night fishing. I remember being a kid and my parents would let me go off to a lake, set up an umbrella with a tarp around it and a sun lounger, and I'd go fishing for the night. A friend would be in one fishing spot, I'd be in another fishing spot. These teen, you know, under pre-teens, just out for the night on a lake all through the night. I had a gas stove that I bought from a camping store, a couple of cans of baked beans. I just put the can of baked beans on the gas stove, and you'd eat the beans, and you'd be there all night fishing with your little bite alarms. I miss that. I miss that like crazy. That was just, again, another world.
Bicycle scaring away the fish.
Bicycle pump water wars. I used to love that. In the neighborhood, we used to all get bike pumps and a bucket of water, and you just have drive-bys with bike pump water guns, and everyone would just be set up with barricades. You suck it up the bike pump and squirt it out at everyone, and just have bike pump wars. I missed the hell out of that. And again, on the same thing, we used to go out at night around the neighborhood, just a bunch of terrors. We'd just be left alone. No one gave a damn. I remember climbing drain pipes, getting on roofs of houses and jumping over houses and things like this. We'd stop on one of the pathways. We put a stick up and charge 10p to get through because we protect people because we had a flashlight and it was dark. Oh, all this crazy stuff.
Hang on for a sec. I'm wondering if we should make this a part 2 later down the road before you go farther deep into it. I want to get Neil to drop in something. I'm wondering if we should just make this a part 2 later down.
You can.
I'm thinking we might have to because I'm enjoying the conversation. I don't want to rush this. It sounds like there should be more quality put into this discussion. So is that okay with you guys?
It would have to be blasts from the past rather than things we missed.
We're gonna we'll do a part 2 later down the road. But I do want to hear Neil. Give us one thing, Neil, that you kind of missed from your youth.
So just define youth, because I don't know if we had parameters on like
70s,
childhood.
80s, and 90s.
70s, 80s.
So the whole gamut.
The oldest I got was like DVD commentaries.
16. Go up to 16.
Okay, so we definitely need to do a two-parter. I'm just gonna say the most basic one because man, did we spend hours doing this. But first of all, it was the collecting of the pop bottles to go to the corner store to buy the hockey cards, right? So if you got five cans or 2 bottles in 1 can, you could get a pack of hockey cards, and then we would. So I don't know if they did this in jolly old England, but flipping hockey cards against the wall.
Man, I just added that to my list. Good.
No, cards just went in bike spokes.
Oh yeah, of course we did that too.
too.
But so Rob and Jamie, did you do this? You must have done this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So let me go through the list, and you guys correct me if there's any different names or if I missed one. Okay.
Oh, type of hockey card games.
Yeah. Okay. So Farsi. Okay, number 1, Farsies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Steve, do you want us to explain any of these to you?
That's how far you can get it.
How far? Okay, let's play far. Okay, the game is now. Can Steve guess? Steve guess the game? Okay,
name that game.
Yeah, closest to the wall. How far you can get it? Good. All right. And by the way, Steve, the winner gets to keep the cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So top C's.
Who would get it on the top?
Top of what?
The pile.
Yeah. So you put a card at the close to the end of the wall, and you got to flip a card, and make it land
on the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Stand ups.
If the card stood up after throwing it.
Yeah, stand up against
vertically.
Okay, yeah, it's very good.
I called that standees. Yeah.
Standees? Okay.
Yeah.
We call it stand-ups. And of course, if you got stand-ups, then you've got knockdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, so you knock down someone's stand-up?
Well, so there's
stand them up and try and knock them down.
A lot of variations. One was you would actually take 4 cards or whatever, 3 or 4 cards, set them up against the wall, and then you got to try to knock them down. Stand-up knockdowns was crazy because you had to stand one up, and then it was the first one to knock it down. And
I would have guessed
that
if you hadn't told me.
That was a huge, massive pile of cards at the end of that. So then you had you guys are gonna love this one. Scramble.
Oh, my favorite.
I remember Scramble.
There's always that show off, that flex that stood up on a rock at Happy Valley and just scramble and they chuck out 5 or 6 cards.
5 or 6.
He was showing off. What is that, Steve? What do you think you have to do?
Well, it sounds a little bit like you would throw the cards and everyone would just go crazy running and try and pick them up.
Yeah, pretty much.
We used to do another thing called bundle out on the playing field. So if someone's laying down, you shout bundle, and everyone just run up and jump on top of that person, and then on top of that person, and then just create a bundle.
So top C's with the people.
That's yeah.
Okay, so. Did I miss any?
Did you say I
am just gonna say though, not very creative.
Bounce backs.
Okay, bounce backs.
Forgot about that one.
Do you honestly want me to try and guess what bounce back is?
Yes.
Okay, do you throw it against the wall, and if it bounces back, then you're the winner? Whoever gets furthest bounce back.
Very good.
He's got it.
That's what I'm saying. You guys,
it's good enough for kindergarten kids.
I would say you probably needed to get out more.
Are you kidding me? That was great. I hated playing all those games, to be honest, but I loved watching them.
It's like saying, we played this game, and you got to guess what we did. It was called Walk to the End, Turn Around, Come Back. What do you think you had to do?
My fellow Canadians, I believe our heritage is being questioned here.
I gotta tell you, the Canadians just got a boner listening to this conversation. I guarantee you.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody, and good job we're on video.
Okay, but did I miss any?
Did you say closies?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, that's
Farsies and closies.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you play stickies?
Oh my God, the stickies. That's what's happening after this conversation.
Good Lord.
Well, we've all got to go and fling some cards around, so...
Well, there we go. I think we will continue this in the future. I'm actually really enjoying this conversation. My list is full, and I know that Neil's got another full list. I'm just going to keep walking. Yeah. Just keep walking. And,
right, so yeah, we'll do it again, and we'll get the people that are listening and enjoyed it to send in some of theirs.
Please,
so we can,
down below in the comments section if you're watching this on YouTube, or send an email to us at generationxwing.com or generationxwing at gmail.com, and let us know some things that you miss, and we'll share it on the show. I think it's really important. I'll collect it all on the computer. So, Steve, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram under Shitspackle Muppet Fart. I know I keep saying, I'm going to get some stuff up there. I just haven't been, man. It's not been in the bones. I'm not feeling it. There's a couple of story posts, but yeah, get there, follow that. And then maybe if I get some more followers, I'll be a little bit more interested in the algorithm of Instagram.
There you go. Neil, where can I find you?
FaceInduce73 on Instagram. Yeah. Thinking of what I posted. I posted a picture of our pumpkin. That was cool.
Did you carve it?
No, it was thanks for following my Instagram, Rob. No, I did not carve it. It was a painted Charlie Brown and Linus and Snoopy on top of the Great Pumpkin.
I'm sorry, I'm on 5 different Instagram accounts here, and I didn't see any of it there.
Not so you could follow Neil 5 times.
Yeah, I think I already do.
It was only in my story, so it might have disappeared already.
Dude, that's not it, is it?
Yeah, I don't post anything personal.
Oh, that's a special YouTube special right there. Jamie, normally I wouldn't be asking you where we find you, but I think we can now ask. Where do we find you?
Are we doing this?
Yeah, we're still doing it. I mean, please.
I'm mostly just curious about timing, but yeah, if we're doing it, you can find me on the new Generation X-Wing video series, Ready to Believe.
And what is this about, sir?
It's about my journey of becoming a Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's coming down the pike. We will hopefully start it in mid-November. I know me and Jamie have to get together and record and get some other things. We've already got a couple episodes in the can, just trying to edit it together. But I'm really excited about you showing off your costume and your journey to becoming a member of the Ghostbusters of BC. And it's looking great, isn't it?
Oh, dude, it's so exciting. I've had it out a couple times now. I definitely have. So I've done all the basics. Like my version 1 to-do list is complete, and I already have an equally gigantic version 2 list, which is tweaks and mods.
Yeah.
As you do after you wear it out a couple times. But yeah, also like, since we recorded that first kind of couple videos, literally everything else arrived. So it all was very, very fast.
And with new information from Hasbro Pulse with the new devices, we're going to be able to do videos on that too when it comes out. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. So the new trap and the new what do you call the PKE meter? Yeah. So. As for us, Generation X-Wing podcast here on YouTube, subscribe below. Please help us get to 500 so we can get Jamie to watch Love Guru. You can find me on Outer Rim Rookie, the Outer Rim Rookie show here, as well as the Outer Rim Rookie Instagram show, which does follow Space Hindu, and Generation X-Wing Instagram, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. Subscribe, as I said, and help us grow. Other than that, next week we're talking about Neil's pick for movie. It's been a while since he got to pick a movie, and the last one was Love Guru. But this is a good one. You want to talk about 90s. It's the hints behind him right now. We're talking singles. from 1992. So it's going to be a good movie review, and Anil's hosting. So
I'm hosting. I did prep.
So stay tuned for that one. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.